power to change your life. He is committed to the mission of helping you transform and become a person of power, and it starts with his all-new system to change your situation. At the centerpiece of this life-altering collection is David Evans' groundbreaking training course, From Ridiculous to Radical to Real, This Means War. In this series, you will discover the steps to change. This series includes 2 powerful messages, each on winning the battle in your mind and cultivating a language of faith. That's 4 messages, 4 power-filled hours of material. If you want a better marriage, this series has the answers. If you want to achieve financial independence God's way, the secrets in this series will empower you to make it happen. If you want a life of power, anointing, and influence, this series will show you how to get it, and there's more. You're looking for serious, immediate results. So Bishop Evans will also include one of his best-selling messages called Weapon of Warfare. This classic teaching will build you up to start fighting in the spirit for what you deserve. This powerhouse collection, From Ridiculous to Radical to Real and Weapon of Warfare, will give you all the biblical strategies you need to change anything in your life. This collection will ship to you immediately with your gift today to David G. Evans Ministries. This ministry is revolutionizing the kingdom by empowering believers. Souls are being saved daily, and we need your help to grow this impact in a real way. Call now and sow your seed of just $35 for your transformation to help people around the world. Your $35 love gift goes straight to the front lines of ministry, providing help to those that need it most. Call now. Make the decision to get the power you need to change your life forever.
Well, praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to OnPointe, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on any smart device at David G. Evans, the #1, at David G. Evans 1. Any smart device, you can hear us and see us around the world. We invite you to join us as we have our discussions, always from a kingdom perspective. That means from faith. We talk about culture, we talk about religion, we talk about politics, we talk about sports, all those events that impact your life in a national and global type of impact. We are looking forward to having another vibrant conversation with you again. We ask you to give us a call toll-free around the world, 866-743-8267. That's 866-743-8267. That's 866-74-EVANS. Give us a call. We hear from people from around the nation, and occasionally we hear from those who join us from overseas. That's France and Africa, the islands, and Canada. That's not overseas, but outside the continental, what we know as the 50 states. We ask you to give us a call today. Let us hear your opinion on a variety of topics. Our world-famous co-host, Reverend Nicholas Smith, is with us again. Hey, man, how you doing?
Good morning.
Trying to make it, man. We're here.
Yep.
We're
Always.
here.
That's our answer every Saturday.
Yeah, we're here.
We're here.
Does it look like the weather's going to hold out for us today?
Yeah, looks like it's going to be.
Because I know they're saying 1%, but it seems like it's getting cloudier outside.
Yeah, they said by noon the sun's supposed to come out.
Okay.
61 by then. Yeah.
Okay. Well, got to preach a steady gospel from a rocky boat occasionally.
Man. Just layer it up. And
Just all, man. Just got the stuff on. Colin Powell passes away.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting, looks like, deserved respect from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
He was very clear on his positions and why he did not always have to agree with him, but he was never unclear.
Yep.
And to me, when he spoke, he was always logical and coming from a place of truth.
Yep.
So even when he was deceived by his own government as related to the missiles,
Mm-hmm.
he came out and said, basically, that ain't what they said to me.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they thought he was going to take the bullet for that one.
Mm-hmm.
But during that time, it showed me that no matter how valuable you are, depending on the situation, they'll make part of your reputation expendable.
Absolutely. That's why I can never be in government, because everybody's expendable.
Okay.
I no longer need you.
Okay.
What's the guy that was alongside that was here that got in trouble? The politician.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking
I
about.
remember.
Obviously he must have said something
Yeah.
to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, prison and just
Yeah, he had been stepping on people for a long time.
yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
think Wayne.
Yeah.
Wayne was either
Brian.
Brian. He was the second or third most powerful person
Mm.
in the state because he was the head of Treasury,
Mm.
and he controlled the purse strings for all the disbursements and everything.
Mm.
And he ran roughshod on some people, according to what people were saying.
Yeah.
And he went to jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And what always amazed me about the list of people that he went to jail for,
Mm.
they had to leap over about 25 or 30 people to get
Yep.
to his name.
Absolutely. It's dog eat dog, man.
But how did the top 25 stay safe?
Oh, of course.
And they leaped
Yeah.
over all of them doing the same thing he was doing.
Yeah. The protection. He must have threw somebody off.
I'm telling you what he did, man. He
Yeah,
was
I know.
running roughshod on
I
people.
believe it. But anyway, but back to Colin Powell. I mean, he was a hard line against Trump.
Hmm.
And did you see Trump's response?
No, I didn't know he did. I didn't think he would.
He is callous.
What did
and
he
like
say?
A petulant child. Let me see if I can find.
Okay.
But anyway, while I'm looking at that, I had a conversation with somebody. I just don't understand people's logic.
Okay.
So they're saying that the vaccine doesn't work because an
Mhm.
84-year-old man that has cancer got COVID and died.
It's funny you should bring that up because
I'm like, come on, y'all.
Yeah,
Let's.
yeah. The guy that I talked to yesterday,
Hmm.
that I was telling you off air that I had my first conversation with a real Trump enthusiast yesterday. I mean, I've had conversations with people that are in high positions regarding politics, but this man yesterday that I talked to told me that he would die for Trump, that he would literally die for him. And then I said to him, you know, because he's a believer, I said to him, well, what about, you know, God? And he tried to revise it, but the fact of the matter is, Pastor Nick, that he was the first guy that was like a January 6th kind of guy
Yep. Mm-hmm.
that I'd had a conversation with for at least 40 minutes.
Yep.
And really listen
Mhm.
to what he had to say. So you were getting ready to say something. Somebody said
No, you're
something.
fine. Just-
Now, what did Trump say about?
This is what Trump said about Colin Powell.
Okay.
Wonderful to see Colin Powell, who made big mistakes on Iraq and famously so-called weapons of mass destruction, be treated in death so beautifully by the fake news media. Hope that happens to me someday. He was a classic rhino, even if that always being the first to attack other Republicans. He made plenty of mistakes, but anyway, may he rest in peace.
Why did he feel like he had to say anything?
For he's on the attack of anybody who's against him, Republican, Democrat,
Okay.
whatever.
So people, where do I start? The conversation I had yesterday went all the way from, I refuse to call African Americans African American.
Mm.
Now he's talking to one.
So what does he call you? Just American?
He's simply saying that we're all Americans. I said no. I said
No.
so, you know, so in America,
Mhm.
there are Irish Americans, Italian Americans, Polish Americans, African Americans, Native Americans. I said in America, that's part of the language.
Yeah.
Well, it's just too divisive. I said, but don't you think it's disrespectful for if a Polish American person wants to be called Polish American?
Yeah.
You're not the one to disqualify their opinion.
Yep.
But he felt as though he had a right
Yeah.
to disrespect a person's opinion of themselves.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
he had a woman's point of view, my body, my choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the thing about them. They're so caught up in delusion. It's like they say those things like that are divisive,
Okay.
but yet they follow a president who's extremely
Okay.
divisive.
Absolutely.
I send you this clip of the Daily Show.
Mhm. Yeah.
The guy Jordan Klepper, he did a video with a bunch of Trump supporters. This guy, they got these slogans now, calling Kamala Harris some derogatory names and
Okay, I didn't hear that.
president stuff.
Okay.
They're wearing these T-shirts saying we need to be peaceful as a country, bring people back, and these T-shirts giving the middle finger to both President Biden and VP Harris, and literally saying we need to be united. They're dividing us while they're
Something that really jumped out at me yesterday, because this stuff's dropping on me as we're talking about it. He tried to eliminate President Trump's time in office. He said, "You don't want me to start talking about Obama." He said, "And this administration presently has our country in trouble." So I'm like, Biden has been in office 10 months.
Yep.
Your guy was in office 4 years. The problems of the 4 years would not be solved in the 10 months.
Yep.
So these are not Biden's issues he's dealing with. But what I saw was this commitment to, I remember years ago, Pastor Nick, counseling one of our members. And the individual was so far off on their point of view. I mean, it was just way off. So when you have those counseling situations like that, you're trying to preserve the validity of the emotion.
Yes.
Well, at the same time, directing perhaps some additional thinking and wisdom. So it got to the point where this person said, if it's not true, why do I feel so strongly about it?
Yeah.
And this was years ago. And that's when I got a strong emotion does not validate a point of view.
Absolutely.
But I was talking to this guy yesterday, and he was so strong in how he felt that everything that came out of his mouth was correct.
Yeah. Yep.
And I had to slowly but surely just bring down what he was saying.
Absolutely.
We got, he's not a vaccine guy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, wait a minute. You're going to have to keep your distance. He said, I've always been social distance. I believe in social distance. Blah, blah, blah. He said, but I don't know. I don't know what's in it. So I asked him how old he was. He told me. I said, so exactly how many vaccines did you take that you didn't know what was in them?
Yep.
He said, but they didn't rush to do them. I said, you don't know
they
that.
don't know that. That's the thing.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
And I remember polio. When it hit, they went light speed to try to find with the technology that they had, which they don't have now.
Yep.
And I said, what type of soda do you drink? He started laughing. I said, so you're not making any sense.
Yeah.
You don't know what's in it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how I'd much rather somebody say, you know what, this is just what I want to do.
Absolutely.
Rather than make
I
it
can
a bunch of
respect that.
illogical.
I can respect that.
I can respect that more.
Yeah.
Just tell me this is what I want to do. I want to do what I want to do. Because to me, sometimes when an extremely intelligent person gets real illogical in an area because of emotion, you're like looking at him like, who am I talking to?
Because it's all emotion.
All emotion.
It doesn't have to make sense.
Not at all.
So explain to me your condensed perception of critical race theory, because I want to make sure when I tell you what he said that.
Okay.
What is it?
Now, a condensed version is that America in itself is racist.
Okay.
It's founded on racism.
Okay.
The structure is racist.
Okay.
Towards certain groups of people.
Okay.
Right? And that it's a system, not talking about a specific white person.
Right.
So when we say white supremacy, we're talking about a structure, not individuals per se. That's what critical race theory, in a nutshell.
All right.
I mean, there's some stuff a little off, but in a nutshell, that's what it is.
All right. So the guy I'm talking to yesterday, he says, Tom, we'll get to you in just a second, because I want to hear what you have to say about this. He says that they shouldn't be teaching critical race theory. But they're not teaching it in schools, number one. That's the first thing. They're not teaching it in school, but people like this guy I was talking to have been told that they're teaching. And I said, well, what are they teaching them to do? He said, they're teaching them to hate white people and teaching them to hate black people. I said, no, they're not. I said, my children attend a majority white school. I attended a majority white school. So we never were taught to hate anybody.
Yeah.
I said, but what you cannot decide to eliminate is the reality of America's history and why we're America. So he was looking at, I said, the Native Americans, slavery, Civil War, Boston Tea Party. I mean, all these things are a part of American history. I said, so we have to take responsibility for the history that we've created.
Absolutely. And Arkansas or Alabama, one of them, said they're outlawing critical race theory. And somebody brought up the question again, where are they teaching it at? They're not teaching it in schools.
They're not teaching it anywhere.
It's a boogeyman that they're using. You got pastors and churches preaching on critical race theory.
No.
Most black people don't even know what critical race theory is. But they're saying it's one of the greatest dangers of the church. But because what they're doing is, and I give it to them, they're smart about it.
Okay.
They're lumping anything that's social justice, racially, into critical race theory.
Well, that's really how they got the moral majority platform. It really was about segregation. But they said we need a more polarizing principle. Let's do abortion. That's how that got it.
So now it's like, let's talk about abortion. Now let's talk about critical race theory. So anytime something happens unjust to a black person and you try to help out or say something, you have adopted critical race theory.
But I think the other thing that gets me is that this guy I was talking to yesterday literally wanted to, he didn't realize what he was saying, or maybe he did. I don't want the fact that there was slavery in America talked about. So they're trying to eliminate it from the history books. I said, so you saying it didn't happen doesn't eliminate the fact that it happened to people that I'm related to.
Absolutely. And you notice they never want to outlaw teaching on the Confederacy.
No.
Now, mind you, the Confederacy was illegal. It's one of the most anti-American things to ever occur.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But they want to teach on the glory of that and call slaves interns.
Yep.
They were happy.
Yeah. No, they weren't.
It amazes me the logic of people with racism, the vaccine. I talked to one guy. He's like, again, Colin Powell shows he's vaccinated, it doesn't work.
Okay.
I'm like, dude, first off, I know senior citizens that get the flu vaccine, get the flu, and still die. He's 84 years old with cancer. His immune system was already.
The guy tried to run that argument on me yesterday. He tried to run that argument.
Think clearly.
I told him, I said, so for instance, I have high blood pressure. So I get COVID. Did the blood pressure kill me that I was managing?
Thank you.
Or did the COVID kill me?
Thank you.
He couldn't say anything. He stopped talking.
Yeah.
I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, so he tells me he goes out and buys the cow medicine because that's going to work. I said, do not put that in your body.
Yes.
It's poison.
Yeah, you can die from that.
Let's go to Tom from Fort Lauderdale. Hey, Tom, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Bishop.
Good.
Bishop, it's crazy.
I know, man.
Fox News, within 2 hours of Powell's passing away, said vaccine does not work, and this proves it.
How did that prove it?
Thank you.
The guy yesterday I was talking to brought up the same point.
Yeah.
I said, do you know how many people have died from taking the flu shot? Do you know how many people have... I said, people have died. I said, every vaccine, there's some human being that will not be able to... That doesn't mean it doesn't work on the millions of other people that it's working on.
And I'm like, plus he's 84 years old. The immune system of an 84-year-old is not like 20-something. Like,
and
come
it wasn't
on.
84 as much as...
It's a cancer, too.
Cancer and the Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Right.
Both those things weakened his immune system.
Yeah.
And that was the reason.
I talked to a friend of mine the other night who went through COVID, spent 3 weeks in the hospital. And he at 52 or 3 years old, and he's still trying to recover.
Yep, absolutely.
And this was last January he had the thing.
I just found out one of my classmates, 39 years old, just died of COVID last week.
Okay.
39 years old.
39.
I'm like, come on, y'all. But, what do I know?
Tom, I think that what people are doing is grabbing a hold to any straw that will help substantiate the feeling that they're having. Because it doesn't make sense. I had talked with another member the other day, and I just don't want it. I just don't want it. So I said, okay, that's fine.
It's fine.
But they called me to see if I would support a religious objection. I said, I can't do that. She said, well, why not? Because we had clinics here to get vaccinated.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that showed me how connected she'd been.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing. One other thing, Bishop, you brought up a name of a person who's been in my father's home, and he was somewhat friends with.
Who?
Wayne Bryant.
Did you? I served with Wayne on several committees.
And you know that was Chris Christie's golden moment.
Yeah, man. When he got Wayne.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that's what catapulted him into the spotlight when that happened.
One of the things that did.
I mean, not only did he go to prison, he lost his bar license.
Yeah, they disbarred him, but he was a tough guy here in Jersey, man, and he had the purse strings. He was the guy they had to go to get the money.
Yeah.
When they wanted to bill fund it and all, he was the guy.
You know, I like the guy, so I'm not going to say, but I mean, he was people in school, you know, people on the payroll who weren't. So he was doing some things that weren't totally above board.
But here's the thing.
Chris Christie went after him with a vengeance.
I don't know if you know this, Tom, but there was a list of about 38 people that were doing the same thing.
Yep.
And there were 25 or 26 people ahead of him on the list.
Mm-hmm.
They jumped from 1 to 28, I think it was. I can't remember clearly. To get to him, they had to jump over 27 people who were doing the same thing he was doing.
Yeah, you know what? He was a big dog. He was the popular one. I think that's the reason.
Yeah, he was popular, but he also was. They didn't like having to come to him to get the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he can be a little arrogant.
Oh man, he was over the top.
I saw him a couple years ago.
He's over that. He calmed now.
He calmed down behind the scenes, from what I see, sitting back.
Yeah, he was an aggressive politician.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it took him a while to get there. But like again, the same with Colin Powell, unbelievable. With Trump saying what he had to say, and it was only within hours of him passing away that Trump post this craziness.
I'm amazed that when I was talking to the Trump supporter yesterday, he said America was divided, but he would not say that President Trump had anything to do with the president division. They
never want to admit that. Never.
But I mean, it's just so obvious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
go ahead.
So they had one guy in this one video. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah.
This one guy in the video. Hold on. One guy in the video. He said Trump is still the president right now.
Okay.
Because in their minds, he's still running things behind the scenes. So the guy asked him, so is Trump responsible for Afghanistan debacle? He's so. Oh no, he's not responsible for that. And he's like,
well, if he's running things,
why is he not? They are delusional.
Wow. I thought it was a little embarrassing. The guy that was talking to me yesterday, I've known him 20 years. I was compassionate and embarrassed for him at the same time, because he was simply repeating platitudes.
Yep.
You know, the state this country's in. Well, what state is it in?
Yeah.
Well, you know, this administration. What has this administration done?
Yeah.
They've been able to pass what? One piece of legislation?
Yep. Yeah.
Tom, what were we going to say?
Sorry, Tom.
Critical race.
Yeah.
Just real quick. I'm starting to see Native Americans, Asians, and others get in the conversation, because I know Caucasians are getting tired of hearing black.
Right.
But when it's in your face with Asians, especially Native Americans, you have to look at it and go, this is a fact of what happened in this country.
You're right. They don't want to deal with that part of our history. We had a civil war.
Yeah.
Germans don't, in Germany, you would say what you want about Hitler, but there were some great generals like Rommel and others, but they don't put them in this high esteem of some great person, because they were on that side that was the wackos.
Right. I got a chance to listen firsthand to a person who told me they would die for I can't remember Trump's first name. Donald. That he would die for Donald Trump. Yeah, I'd never heard anybody up in close and personal within 6 feet of me talking like that.
Yep.
Did that person realize Donald would not die for him?
No, they didn't. He didn't talk about that.
Not at all.
Talk about that at all.
He don't care not one bit.
But I believe the guy I know yesterday that I talked to is embraced by the thought that there is a half a nation against him.
Yep.
He's embraced by the conspiracy. And it feels warm to him. So. How you feeling, Tom? You mending? You doing better?
Feeling great. I'll be up that way hopefully Thanksgiving, if not earlier. But
Okay.
Feeling good.
Good
Hopefully
to
this pandemic thing is cooled down by then.
Oh, man, hopefully it will be, but they're acting silly out in public, man, so I don't know.
I'm pushing plans. It may be Christmas. I'm not going to jump on a plane until,
No, sir.
until things are
No,
right.
sir. A friend of mine called me last week saying, would I participate in something? I said, you're going to be able to do a Zoom? He said, yeah. I said, because I'm not flying.
I don't blame you.
I'm not flying.
Nope.
Too many people.
I'm waiting. I'm sitting back looking.
Yeah, too many people depending on me, and everything they're asking me to do, I can do much later. So it's not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. All right, man. Tom, take it easy, man.
Hey, take care.
All right, talk to you. 866-743-8267 at 866-743-8267. Give us a call. This is On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Any smart device at David G. Evans. Well, text somebody, inbox them, give them a call. Jump on the conversation. We got Danny from Lauderhill, Florida, and Robin from Delaware. Let's go to Danny. Good morning, Danny. How you doing?
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing this morning, Pastor Nick?
Hey.
Good to hear from you, man. What's on your mind today?
I just wanted to listening in, and I just wanted to contribute things that bring up to date what's going on into the state here. Some time ago, the president to our former vice president, he said that he was not going to run for the presidency because he wanted to spend time on this critical race theory. And I thought it was very odd. And, looking into what they were plotting and planning and what they want to do, they would want to rewrite everything and then change the theories on actually what happened instead of telling the story. And I noticed that and asking some of my coworkers and some of the younger people, what do they know about our history as a race of people being black and what have you, slavery and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a different story from what I was taught in school. And I don't know, how you feel about it or if you have taken any questions from anyone. So I asked them some questions, and very little that was taught in school as to what's what. So they wanted to change the whole prospect of saying that nothing was wrong, that if anything, they was like a business, and that people that were in that type of business, they lost money. So they're the ones that need to be compensated and what have you.
They've been doing that for a while in Texas with the whole changing the word slaves to intern.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Interns.
Interns, yes. They almost like they got these Africans got on this boat and traveled to a better country.
Yeah.
Well, interns means you could walk away from the job whenever you wanted to.
Exactly. So they're
You don't send police after interns.
I know. And
You don't hunt interns with dogs.
Exactly.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
They're trying to reshape that narrative.
Okay.
And the other thing is a lot of people don't realize those slaveholders got reparations
Yes.
after slavery was ended. They got paid. Y'all going to lose X amount of money. Let's give y'all some money back for what y'all going to lose once the slavery's over.
Because they were losing property.
Because they were.
Matter of fact, that word chattel was still in lending documents. 20 years ago? That word chattel is collateral.
Yep.
Was still used in lending documents. I know because that was my business. Okay.
And to help you understand, what I know a lot of history of South Florida and what have you, if you ask anyone what happened in the development, the settlement of South Florida, how did it happen, and what have you. And a lot of people don't know. They think that it's the new generation of people that came in that they all of a sudden changed everything and that it was here. But in actuality, it was slaves that came from the South, which is Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, that escaped and what have you. And they were so adapted to the conditions and what have you, they were able to survive in Florida and they developed it. Also, there was also slaves that came in from the Caribbean islands that actually settled here.
Okay.
They settled on the beach and what have you. My grandmother and some of her friends and family, when they came in and settled, it was nothing here. But when people came from up north, they saw the weather, they saw how good it was, so they forced them off of the beach into inland. Now, their history, they were fishermen because they came from the island.
Okay.
So they knew all about fishing. But then they were forced to learn agriculture. But they were not compensated when they were moved off of the beach.
Of course not. I think Pastor Nick brought up a situation where a family was about to be compensated for their beach property.
Oh, yeah, they're giving them their beach property back in California.
Okay.
Yeah, because they took it years ago. Could you imagine how much? I don't want to. I look at both ways.
Okay.
Part of African American money situation for most majority of African Americans is because we buy stuff that we
Buy what we want, pay for what we need. Yeah.
But
Okay.
Another big part, all the redlining and stopping black families from having housing and be able to pass it to their children. Could you imagine how much money the black nation would have, culture would have, if Tulsa was never burned down? And there was more than Tulsa wasn't
Tulsa
the
wasn't the only one.
The beach situation, if there wasn't redlining, if a lot of our grandparents, great parents could own homes and pass them down, so we could be used to that dynamic.
Yeah. I remember when I was, I think I was in AVP at that point. And no, I was, in AVP at that point. And I was managing all of the branches from Newark down to Atlantic City for this bank and commercial lending side. And I witnessed redlining and spoke up about it in an executive board meeting because I saw the differences in the way lending principles were applied to outside of Trenton versus inside of Trenton. Outside of Trenton, he's a good guy, $2 million on his signature. Inside of Trenton, your house, your children, your assets, your signature, and I brought it up at a meeting. I said, wait a minute, what's the difference between this guy, who's a good customer with money in the bank, and this guy who just filed bankruptcy?
Yep.
The meeting stopped.
But they're still doing it now too. Black couples, black people, when they're selling their house, majority of times take all the pictures down because they value the house based off who lives in the house, and they're still doing this presently.
Wow.
This one couple, they had all their pictures up. They came in, valued their house at a certain rate. They got another company, took all the pictures out, came back, used a white person, boom, values went right up.
Wow.
So even presently, people are still trying to do this mess.
Well, I'm not sure that President Trump was comfortable moving in a house that President Obama had occupied for 8 years.
Yeah,
I'm that. How's my sister doing, man?
Great, tremendously good.
That's right, Danny. Brag.
Please give her my love, okay?
Okay, thank you once again, Pastor Nick, staff, Bishop. You all, we really love you. God bless you.
God bless you, man. Talk to you soon.
All right.
We got Jay from Delaware. We're going to Robin from Delaware. Hey, Robin, how you doing?
Hey.
Good morning, Bishop. Good morning, Pastor Nick.
Hey. Good to
how
hear.
Y'all doing?
All right, good to hear from you.
Good to hear your voice too, Bishop. And anytime you forget former President Trump's first name, think of Donald Duck.
No,
God forgive me. I've been under y'all too long. I'm throwing shade now.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Yep. But I just wanted to make a comment. Pastor Nick was just talking about the Tulsa. I never knew about the 1921, May 31st, that we had a black Wall Street. So I was talking to someone this morning that I picked up, and he was telling me, he sent me the article so I can read. But could it be that they see all of that wealth that's going to be coming back to us, and that's why they're nervous that they will not be the majority any longer?
Well, I kind of think you're kind of mixing two things a little bit. The fact that the shading of America has been definitive and is already there is why you're seeing a lot of this, I say, illegal tactics to gain control or maintain control, because the majority is now a minority in America. The former majority is now a minority in America. And so this is where you're getting a lot of this angst regarding people's right to vote and all this other stuff. But at the same time, like Pastor Nick is saying, there's a lot that was taken from American Indians, Native Americans, a lot that was promised to, some taken away from African Americans. There's a lot of reparations that are due. They've satisfied some of the Native American, they think, with these casinos. And millions of dollars are being created, jobs are being created, the whole 9 yards, wealth is being created. But African Americans, of course, are slow behind this thing. And I'm not sure if it's, part of it is agenda and systematic. The other part is I'm not sure we're pursuing it like we should.
It's not in our DNA as much. It's not ingrained in us when we're young.
Okay.
I learned something a couple years ago.
Okay.
It's as simple as this, to know if they broke the economic side of African Americans, it would be hard.
Okay.
The watermelon trope, for those that don't know about black people love watermelons, was actually a racist thing. So after slavery, in a certain part of the country, former black slaves were selling watermelon.
Okay.
Because they knew how to work the field and stuff like that. So a lot of blacks and whites were going to these black people to buy watermelon. It was building up their income.
Okay.
So somebody got the idea, hey, we don't want these black people to keep making money. So they start saying, black people love watermelon, black people love watermelon, black people love watermelon. And the more they define watermelon around black people, the less white people start eating it, or they wouldn't eat it and buy it from other black people.
Wow.
So the whole watermelon trope started from a racist thing to break the back economically of black people.
Making too much money. So let's make watermelon a black thing so white people will stop buying it from them. Wait a minute, Robin. I got to ask Pastor Nick this question. With decades of that systematic shrinking of opportunity, has that been part of the cultural reason that crime has been an alternative?
Yes, because again, if I keep trying to get my way up, it's easier to either steal, so on and so. But they've still studies. The more impoverished the area is, no matter what race you are, the more crime goes up.
But then there's really a cycle created. Because what I do is diminish your possibilities, encourage you to something illegal. I build prisons that make money so you can go there. So it's systemic.
It's a vicious cycle, and that's what some of what critical race theory teaches. The new Jim Crow book talks about how, and they did it in the 13th, the Netflix thing, that prison is the new slavery. They never outlawed it. They just figure out how to lock them all up so we can get them to work for free for us again.
I actually think the ghetto is part of the new slavery.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Because as long as you stay fenced in and don't come out of your neighborhood, we're pretty good with you there. Robin, you said you had one more question?
Yeah, you was talking about like the Native Indians. Okay, my great grandfather was full Cherokee Indian. Now, is there like just a small percentage of, I guess, me being part Native, or how does that work?
No, there's a great deal of our population, as you don't know, but you're about to find out. I have Cherokee, Blackfoot, and Apache blood in my family.
What?
Yeah, and my as I understand it, my grandmother, the one that lived to be 100, was part Cherokee.
Wow.
But there was a great coming together of freed slaves, escaped slaves, and Native Americans, and that's why you have all this cross-pollination.
Wow. And Bishop, definitely you don't want to fly I'm getting off. I picked up a flight attendant, and she was telling me some things that happened on the plane.
Yeah.
One person, he's banned 7 years from flying. He don't
Okay.
go fly this for 7 years. He did something regarding to her because she kept trying to get him to put the mask on.
Mm-hmm.
Another passenger spit on her. And she said she's so glad that it went on her scarf because she thinks she would have lost her job because she would have beat her down.
These people are crazy.
$15,000
They are nuts on there.
fine. 7 years can't fly. And he had to find a way from Florida back to Philly.
Because he couldn't fly.
Yep.
They are acting up on these planes.
Why?
For real.
Trying
Yeah,
to not
so
wear a mask.
I don't blame
trying
you
to
for
make a
not flying.
statement.
So, but I'm done, and y'all have a blessed day. Love you guys.
All right, talk to you.
Soon.
They doing what on planes, man?
They're like not wearing their masks like they're supposed to. I think it's like they're trying to make a statement about something. But
On the plane?
on the plane, yeah, and you got videos of people, and they're taping these people down. If they act unruly, the passengers and the people working will tie them down and make them fly back tied up. I'm serious, and I don't blame them either.
No, because you can't have misbehaving people up in 30,000 feet.
No.
Let's go to Jay from Delaware. Jay, man, how you doing?
Jay,
Hello.
Hey, Jay.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Man, good to hear your voice. How you been, man?
I'm good. I've been good. Been kind of laying low.
yeah, man, we've heard from you.
Jay, your laying low is a little different than everybody else's, man. That means you've been working hard.
Yeah.
Couple things this morning. Colin Powell, an incredibly, just one of the kindest men I've ever met in my life.
Okay.
My dad was a sergeant major in the Army
Mhm.
back in the 90s, before he got out, in the late 80s, early 90s. And I needed to interview somebody from the military.
Okay.
And my dad arranged for me to meet, and I got 25 minutes of uninterrupted time with the general.
Wow.
And he was just so gracious and kind and engaging. And I was in high school,
Man.
probably in the 10th grade at the time.
Okay.
And I was up early the day he passed, or they sent the information. I was just in shock. And, but he was a good guy. And then when I heard Trump's comment, oh, man.
Set you off a little bit?
I couldn't even believe it.
I put nothing past them. Nothing past
This
him.
guy is just insane.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the downfall of the Republican Party.
I believe that with all my heart.
These people are still loyal to him. They still believe the lie, even after the audits in Arizona and other places, and it's insane.
Jay, how do you have an audit and then discredit your own audit? How does that happen?
right.
You say, okay, I'm going to audit. Okay, go ahead and audit. Then you do the audit, and then all of a sudden you discredit your own audit. It makes no sense to me.
It's insane. It's insanity is what it is. The other things that you did not mention today, the Supreme Court on qualified immunity for police officers.
What did they say?
I didn't see that.
They didn't even want to touch it.
They wouldn't touch it.
And as a matter of fact, it was actually a unanimous decision on all of the justices to keep it as it is.
Huh?
Yeah, it's going to take an act of Congress to actually change that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very shocking to me when I read it. And they kept it quiet because I got it as kind of a news break blurb. And was like, wait a second, how come this isn't all over the news? And it's out there.
You're trying to tell me that they just decided to do nothing?
To do nothing. With unanimous consent from all of the justices.
I don't believe him. I believe it.
There has to have been an established precedent of such egregious abuse of power. And they cited cases. And it had to be such an egregious abuse of power, and they had to have some type of precedent in order for it to not qualify for the immunity.
Mm.
I was just like, wow.
So people dying hasn't been enough? I mean, what value are we placing on human life if people's lives being lost is not enough to motivate them?
Yeah. It's the politics of today. It's insane, and I don't really understand it anymore. I try not to even tune into it anymore. I'm waiting to 5 years off grid to sit. I'll be someplace where there's no phones, no internet, and just be away from it. It's very scary. To say the least.
What is the Supreme Court in place to do right now?
It seems like they're doing nothing, and because because the balance of the court is so uneven right now. Yeah, we should expect some pretty strange things ahead.
Yeah, we're going, especially with this abortion one coming up.
Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting thing.
So
they're not even going to touch that.
Well, it says they're going to hear arguments on the 1st, right?
November 1st, yeah, they're going to start hearing arguments.
Yeah, they're going to hear arguments, but
I don't know if they're going to go through with anything. But
I don't know. I have mixed views on abortion. I don't necessarily believe in the practice of abortion, but I also don't believe in the government's intrusion in the
decision making of women. Yeah.
That's my personal opinion and belief on it. And what they're doing there was just in speaking of work, there was just a case about an illegal immigrant detained in the United States getting an abortion, and a whole big thing went through it. I mean, they eventually allowed this person to get an abortion, but the fight surrounding it was crazy. My last comment this morning, we're talking about black economic wealth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, African Americans are the greatest consumers in this country.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I was looking, it's funny, somebody touched on it, but I was reading some statistics just recently about black buying and how we outspend the rest of the country in certain product categories. If we pooled our money the right way, you know, I know we had these national blackout days and things, but if we just gonna go back and spend tomorrow,
that's the point.
It's not gonna make a difference.
They never make sense to me.
They never make sense.
Like,
so you're not gonna buy anything for 12 hours today.
Yeah. Then you gonna spend it all. Come on.
You're gonna go back and buy what you didn't buy the next day.
Thank you. Just come on. It's stupid.
But we don't spend with black businesses.
It's true.
And at least not enough.
Well, it's why they've discovered that if they put a box store 10 miles out of town, we'll populate that box store and starve the store that's in town.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I used to work for Family Dollar years ago, and the strategy was to go in to urban markets to go after those dollars.
Absolutely.
And that's why you see them everywhere they are.
Yep.
And
it's the Wawa platform.
Yep.
Convenience.
It's crazy because we had a store in Camden, probably the busiest store in the Philadelphia market.
Mm-hmm.
And we put a store. That store just they would shop out of boxes. They wouldn't even give them enough time to put the stuff on the floor. And we put a store 1 mile down the street to try to alleviate some of that, and it was just crazy.
Yeah.
But because they've gone after that urban dollar, that's why their position is so strong. That's why Dollar Tree bought them to enhance their
market share.
We could enhance their market share, certainly, but we could do the same thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they're buying these products from China. That's where it all comes from. And I remember when we used to get the reports, and I used to see what we used to pay for some of the products that used to come in. It's like, man, they're killing it, and we're falling for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
Let me put some black advertising and say, hey, we're for you. Put some black people in pictures, and we fall for it.
Yeah. That's systemic too.
I hate the fact that they sell us computers, but they always have people dancing, even during the computer commercials. It bugs me, man.
Yeah, it does. Like a minstrel show.
Oh, come on, man.
But that's systemic too. They said the worst thing that happened to the black dollar is when segregation was broken.
Okay.
The reason why is not because segregation needed to be broken, was because a lot of blacks during that time were so used to buying from black people, and now they could finally buy from white culture.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And they assumed that because whites made it, it was better.
Yeah.
So, and people still live by that. If it's white, it's better. We don't say it,
But we conduct
but we conduct ourselves like that.
Thank you, Jay, man.
Martin Luther King said something that I think about all the time, and he said, I've integrated my people into a burning house.
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
what he said.
And what he was talking about was the economic portion of that whole the movement. Then it was about the economics.
Yeah.
And he realized, wait a minute, I'm getting what I want for the social aspect, but we didn't come up with an economic plan.
Sure.
And
Sure.
look at that.
All right, man. We got to go here.
Yes, sir.
Good to hear from you, man.
Good day.
Stay strong.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye. I think our last caller of the day is going to be Isla, I believe, from Melville, Indiana. I want to remind you that we have service today at 11:30 here on our campus in Lindenwold, New Jersey, 1115 Gibbsboro Road. Tomorrow, all day long, be with us. You can be with us 8 a.m., 9:45, 11 a.m., and 6 p.m. for 10 Times Better Women. Our church anniversary is tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
We will give our first fruits offering during the service times tomorrow, all day long into Monday or Tuesday or the other day of the week. But tomorrow is our official celebration day. 54 years as a ministry. I want you to join us. As always, send your prayer requests to social@gotobethany.com. Subscribe to David G. Evans 1 and BBC of NJ on YouTube. And subscribe to our DGEMS, DGEMS, on OnPointe platforms. We'd love to have some time with you. Let's go to Isla, I believe. Hi, Isla.
Hi.
How are you?
It's thrilling to be able to actually speak with you, Bishop, and Pastor Nick. But my question is this. I heard the other caller. Why is it, do you think Biden won't just go on and expand the court? He certainly can do that. Why doesn't he?
I think I believe, I don't know this to be a fact, but I believe based on the things that I've seen, he is trying not to start a precedent of expanding the court every time somebody comes in. I think he's going to try to work with the court that he has. I think a lot of things that we're dealing with, we're not going to get the things done that we want to get done over the next 4 years if they don't change some of the procedural ways that we're doing things. And I think that there is an amount of heat that can be put on the Supreme Court. I find that they are basically inactive or leaning in directions that are not consistent with the majority of public opinion. They seem like they're almost ineffective at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's it. I think it's precedent. I don't have any hard facts for that, Isla, but I believe it's precedent, not wanting to set a precedent. Okay, I don't like the way the court looks. Let me change the way the court is, because that'll start. There'll be 30, 60 people large after a while, and you need that small number to actually get things done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Tell me about Melville, Indiana.
Yeah. We're right out. We're like 2 minutes from Gary, the home of the Jacksons.
Right.
Right. But it's great to talk to you guys this morning. Thank you so much.
Good talking to you.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bless you.
That was Isla. I don't think we've ever taken a call from Melville before.
No, I've never heard of Belleville.
Yeah, near Gary, so I know that's very famous and a community in transition. And I don't think that's too far from East Chicago, Indiana, which is, that name always kind of threw me off. East Chicago, Indiana.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's right across the big bridge from Chicago, but they call it East Chicago, but it is in Indiana.
Yeah.
So kind of different. So we're so glad you joined us today. We've had a great conversation regarding so many things that are relevant to your life. I really want to see if we can talk about this agreement with the NFL next time.
Yeah.
And its retired players.
Yeah.
And we did not finish up on Gruden. So we need to talk about that too. Look, y'all, hang out with us tomorrow. Great day for our church, 54 years of ministry, our church anniversary. We'll be on all day, 8 a.m., 9:45, 11, and 6. You don't want to miss one moment tomorrow. And invite somebody to join us all day as we celebrate 54 years of God doing great things through our ministry. Now, for Pastor Nicholas Smith, I'm Bishop David G. Evans. I'll see you at 11:30 here on our campus for our outdoor encounter. Looking forward to spending time in the Word and worship with you. Now remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you, and we'll see you next time on OnPointe.